Today, we are going to learn about definition. Now, put yourself in a scenario. So you're talking to, Bill Gates, or someone that's just extremely smart. And they say something that doesn't quite make sense to you. They're using a lot of big words that you just have no idea what they mean. Do you sit there and stare at them in confusion? Or do you ask them what the words that they are saying or what they are talking about means? Because if this has ever happened to you, I can guarantee you're not the only one. For example, that movie was egregious. Or, once the bandage is off the wound, swab the proud flesh with disinfectant. Speaking on statewide television, Governor Blaine called his opponent a left-winger. What does that even mean? Now, before you have any more questions, let's clear up some of these definitions. Egregious means outstandingly bad or shocking. So that movie was shocking or outstandingly bad. A left-winger is a liberal, socialist, or a radical section of a political party or system. And proud flesh, it just happens to be another term for granulation tissue. I had no idea. Writers will often use terms like this to try and trick their reader, or to really get the reader to comprehend the meaning of a word. So when you're sitting around and you're talking to someone, and they say something that you just have no idea what it is, but then after a while you figure it out, you are defining. You see, you, me, everyone in this room, we were born curious. Now, we've all been through that stage when we're just little kids where, Mom, what's that? Or, what does that do? Or, how'd they make that? Because that's how we're made. We're made to ask questions and be curious about things. When you're defining, you need to be able to identify the features that distinguish a term, establish its boundaries, and you need to be able to figure out what separates it from all the others. Well, the example in your book says, it's just like putting a fence around it. 3 different types of definitions: synonyms, essential definitions, and extended definitions. Synonyms are words with nearly the same meaning. For example, lissom is synonymous with lithe or nimble. Congruent is synonymous with worthy and suitable. Synonyms are used to help writers clarify the meanings of unfamiliar words without using explanation. Because synonyms aren't identical twins, using them puts a different shade of meaning on a message. For example, to protest and to object are certainly similar in many ways, wouldn't you agree? But in the sentence, the claim that we object to the establishment of a nuclear waste site in the area fails to capture the active and sustained commitment implied to our willingness to protest against such a site. When you use them in a sentence like that, it seems like they're quite different, but they are certainly similar. It's the power of synonyms, people. Now we are on to essential definitions. The first 3 things you need to be able to realize are that the essential definitions must name the item being defined, you must be able to place it into a broad category, and it must be distinguished from all the other items in that category. For example, the item being defined is a voice print. Its broad category, it's a graphical record, and some distinguishing features of person's voice characteristics. Now say your teacher gives you an assignment to write an essential definition about an appliance in your house. You choose a vacuum. So a vacuum cleans floors and upholstery and carpets. So does a broom and a Swiffer. You need to be able to pinpoint the things that distinguish a vacuum from a Swiffer or a broom. So, give yourself a minute and think about what distinguishes that vacuum from a broom or a Swiffer. Now, you've all came up with the correct answer. Suction. A vacuum uses suction to clean, where a Swiffer and a broom do not. So, the item being defined, a vacuum. Broad category, appliances. Distinguishing features, suction. Now take a minute and make up your own essential definition. The sentence I came up with is a vacuum cleaner is a household appliance that uses suction to clean floors, carpets, and upholstery. Would you not all agree? Now, when you're writing an essential definitions, there are a few things you need to steer clear of. First one, circular definition. Don't define a term by repeating it or changing its form slightly. Overly broad definition. Shy away from the definitions that embrace too much territory. Overly narrow territory. Don't hem in your definition too closely. An omission of main category. Avoid using is where or is when instead of naming the main category. Extended definition is when a word or sentence or phrase needs more than just a sentence to explain it. An extended definition means that you need either a paragraph or a page to explain what it means. New technical, social, and economic terms often require extended definitions. Extended definitions are not only for academic exercises, they're also fundamental in your career and your life. For example, a police officer needs to have a clear understanding of what counts as reasonable grounds for search and seizure. An engineer must comprehend the meaning of stress, and a nuclear medical technologist had better have a solid grasp of radiation, because that is their job, and they need ethical issues. How we define something can have devastating consequences. For example, centuries of practice of defining Africans as subhuman helped justify the slave trade and slavery. Although the consequences of your writing most likely won't approach the example I just gave you, it is still important to address the following questions. Have I carefully evaluated all the features of my definition? Have I slanted my definition to reflect some prejudice? Have I avoided unnecessary connotations that might be harmful? When writing an extended definition, you want to choose a topic that is concrete but unfamiliar to your reader. If you turn to pages 31 through 38 in your textbook, you will be able to use one of the strategies found on those pages. Also, make sure to ask yourself, which topic holds the most promise? Why? What purpose will guide my writing? To clarify technical or specialized, to show what meaning the term means to me, to persuade the reader to adopt my attitude toward it, to discuss some neglect facet of it. For what audience should I write? These are all important questions to ask yourself. Now please take the next 10 to 15 minutes to read the essay over definition on pages 193 through 196 and answer the discussion questions at the bottom of the page. And then we'll go over them tomorrow morning during class. And while you're reading, make sure to take notes so when you write your own essay about definition, you'll have some clues about what to write about. Run your essay, make sure to look at page 199 for help.